The silent collapse of penny. Everything began with a single penny. No one understood what kind of problems it would eventually cause. It looked like a small, simple, ordinary piece of copper, but inside it lived a nation's trust, effort, and hope. America was still a young country. People believed in freedom and took pride in earning every penny with their own labor. That tiny metal coin, and that modest penny carrying Lincoln's silhouette, wasn't just for making payments. It was a national symbol. But no symbol is immortal. Over time, the value of copper rose. The metal inside a penny became more valuable than the penny itself. And when that day came, the cracks in the system finally became visible. The government changed the alloy to reduce costs. Silver was already gone, and now copper was disappearing too. In its place came worthless zinc, a thin shell of copper, and a mountain of problems. When a nation changes the essence of its currency, it actually removes a piece of its own symbol of freedom. Remember, Rome collapsed the same way. The denarius, once minted from pure silver, was diluted with copper over the years, and eventually turned into nothing more than a ghost coin. The empire might still have been standing, but trust had already fallen. And in a country where trust collapses, nothing works as it should. There was a time when a penny could buy things. Now people either forget them in jars or collect them as relics. Even machines refuse this worthless metal. A penny only makes a sound when it hits the ground, but carries no value. Every year, billions of pennies are still minted, yet most of them never enter circulation. They're just produced, then become scrap. In storage rooms, in piggy banks, under car seats, a silent graveyard. Do you know what the real irony is? The government banned melting pennies because the metal inside is still worth more than the coin itself. So the U.S. had to forbid its own citizens from destroying their own money. And hidden in that quiet law lies the tragedy of the entire story. The metal that was once a symbol of wealth has now become a worthless memory or a collector's item. But it wasn't the penny that truly lost its value. It was belief and trust. Today, many countries have faced the same reality. Canada, New Zealand, Australia. They all stopped minting low-value coins because they realized if a currency is no longer used, there's no point keeping it alive. But until now, the U.S. insisted on continuing to mint it. Maybe it was nostalgia, maybe denial, maybe respect, or maybe a quiet and deep fear. If the penny disappears, does the collapse begin? Maybe it wasn't about money. Maybe the real issue was not being able to accept that the collapse had already begun. But now, penny production has completely stopped. Should the U.S. be afraid of this? What should the people do now? Is the trust of the people still what it used to be? Lincoln is still there, inside that silhouette. That small piece of metal carries his memory, quietly reminding us of history. A man who united and strengthened a nation, now silent on a dead coin. Soon it will be found only in the hands of collectors. And we perhaps will no longer see that memory we carry daily in our pockets. Maybe there is a voice we need to hear, a history we need to learn. When a state plays with the value of its currency, it not only destroys its economy, but destroys the trust of its people, its very foundation. Rome experienced this painfully, and history continues to repeat the same lesson until we finally understand it. If we fail to learn it, a nation won't fall by guns or bombs, but by a single cent. Is the fall of the penny a disaster? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. You can always change your perspective with history. Don't forget to follow. See you in the next video.